All right, everyone, it's time to look ahead. Mixed Madness, our selection show, is presented by American Car Center, and I tell you, we looked high and low for experts to judge the March Madness tournament, and we couldn't find any. So we came up with Jeff. What's wrong? Jeff Lovingood.
I just think that is not true. I get the privilege, and you get the privilege to spend time with me in Shelton, so we hang out and discuss basketball.
You're right. Stephen Shelton, of course, joins us. Shelton, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
All right. Guys, as has been well chronicled, this is a tournament unlike any other, and they're going to be in the Indianapolis area with hardly anybody watching. Jeff, I'll begin with you. How do you think that's going to affect the tournament overall as far as the play is concerned?
I think they'll play better because they'll have more time hanging out with each other. They'll not have to worry about travel, flying to different places. I think Tennessee was in Nashville practicing, and they've gone on up. And so I think a lack of travel, unity, a lot of conversations about things. I think they'll play better, and I think you might disagree with both Shelton. I think Shelton agreed with me on this. That might be the only thing he agrees with me on.
Hopefully.
Is I think we're excited. I think people are excited about March Madness because we need to look forward to something.
That's right. I agree with that. Shelton,
Overall, I do agree with him. The only thing, there are players out there that play off emotion, and when you take the crowd out of it, there's some of those players that will. I think it's a small margin, but some players feed off of what's going on around them. And for those small few, but I think he's right, you don't have the distractions of the crowds and walking through the crowds and all that goes with being part of March Madness. So the excitement level may not be the pageantry that goes along with it may not be as big, but again, these guys are getting to play for a national championship, and so it is. And I think viewership, we talked about earlier, I think viewership could be even bigger this year because more people are working at home, more people have time to watch it, and just but again, a few of those small players that play off emotion may be impacted negatively, but other than that, I think it's a positive.
let's break it down by region. And here in the beginning of our conversation, we want to point out Mixed Madness presented by American Car Center. You need to fill your brackets out by Friday at noon. Go to mymix1041.com. First place gets $500, and we've got all kinds of prizes for each round. And we've even got the best bracket name prize, $100, courtesy of UPS Store, among others. mymix1041.com. Shelton, I want to begin with you. Let's go to the West region. That's where the overall number one seed, the Zags, reside.
Yeah, I mean, Gonzaga's been the best team in the nation from the first day to the last day, and a lot of times you can't say that. And this team's really tough. Again, though, their schedule always haunts me when I go to make these picks because they don't play a big time schedule like you would in the Big Ten or the SEC or the ACC. So day in and day out, they don't play that type of competition. But again, you can't take away from what they did. Unlike Belmont, who got snubbed in this tournament and the NIT for going 26-4, you've got a Gonzaga team that should be the overall favorites to win this, and they've got a really good draw. When you start looking at their first game against a 16 seed, then they'll play either Oklahoma and Missouri. You go down to maybe playing a Virginia team in the Sweet 16. That's not a great Virginia team at a 4 seed. I think Gonzaga's got a really good path to that Final Four.
What do you think, Jeff, in that West region?
I think Shelton's pretty much nailed it. Kansas is an interesting team.
Yeah.
Always is.
Who are they? You know,
Yeah.
and they get up here and they get killed by UT and Knoxville, and all of a sudden we have them a 3 seed, and they're coming in that, and it's going to be interesting. But I think Iowa, the way they play is going to be interesting for Gonzaga because they're physical.
Yep.
And I agree with Shelton on that because if not, Gonzaga is not necessarily played. They played a good schedule, but they've not been pounded on. So it will be interesting, I believe, when we get down to 2, 4, 6, 8 teams. It's hard for me to find out when they would play each other.
Yeah.
They have 8 teams left. I think when Gonzaga has to play Iowa, that would be an interesting game because of physicality of Iowa.
Yeah, I think overall, if you look at this bracket, it's Gonzaga and Iowa, definitely. I mean, if you're coming out of the West, if you don't pick one of those two teams, you're picking something that I don't see anywhere, any possibility.
But you think, Jeff, Kansas could be a part of the conversation?
I think Kansas will be a part of the conversation until they play Iowa. I see Kansas, East Washington, and then I think they'll play USC, and then they'll come in there, and I don't think they'll have a problem with USC necessarily, and then they'll play Kansas, and Iowa will play in the Sweet 16, I believe, and Iowa is a tough team.
Yeah.
They're physical, big. They're going to pound you. And so that would be interesting when you get there.
Upset alert in this western part. The upset alert I've got is Creighton, number 5, getting upset by UCSB in that first round. I think if you look at their schedule and what they've done, they've played some really good competition, and they're really good. And I think they're one of those. The 12-5 is always the one each year that we look at, and I think that's the one you look at in this West region.
Jeff, who you have coming out of the West to the Final Four?
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga, Shelton?
Yeah, I do, Gonzaga.
All right, so we do have an agreement between Lovingood and Shelton out of the West region of the bracket. Gonzaga, the overall number 1 seed. Well, let's drop down and go to the East region, where the Michigan Wolverines, with dreams of 1992 and the Fab Five, now coached by Juwan Howard, in that East region. And tell you what, Jeff, let's begin with you looking at the East.
Boy, the Juwan. He got a little upset in the game last week. I'm talking about. I thought we were going to come to fisticuffs. You know, Juwan, is interesting watching him play when he played for Michigan. How he get that mean face, and he was fired up. And I think Michigan's going to have the first game will be an easy game, but playing LSU in that second game, I'll tell you something. LSU is tough, and they bring a certain. They've not had a lax schedule. LSU they played a tough schedule, and Michigan might have a little tough time with LSU in the second round. What do you think, Shelton?
I got LSU upsetting Michigan in the round of 32. I think LSU overall is more athletic than Michigan. And if you look at Michigan's schedule, I know the Big Ten is the best conference in basketball this year, without a doubt. But when you look at who LSU's played, and then even out of conference, LSU's played a heck of a schedule, and they play to their level of competition, so they can play up there with Michigan all night. I think LSU moves on.
I don't know about their coach at LSU though. I have to.
Well,
interesting cat.
That's a little different story. He needs
I can't believe he's still getting the coach.
Is that under appeal? What's going on?
I don't listen. He's got the greatest attorney in the world. That's all I can say. But
Jimmy Logan,
unbelievable.
He needs that guy needs a burner phone. I mean, he really does. He really does.
I looked up the other night. Well, I guess it was during the SEC tournament. I said, "What is he doing there?" I didn't realize he was still there.
Absolutely. I tell you, in my opinion, the game to watch. I love Alabama coming out, but Alabama playing Texas, I believe, in the Sweet 16. That is going to be a great. Shaka Smart, coaching Texas, has got a really good post player, but Alabama can shoot the lights out.
I got Alabama being way too inconsistent, in the Sweet 16. I have Texas, actually, Longhorns beating Alabama to move on to the Grade 8, or the Elite 8, sorry.
I do think, though, I think that's going to be a neat game.
Yep.
In that bracket, I think having Texas playing Alabama in the Sweet 16 will be a really good matchup.
Shelton, we'll begin with you coming out of the East region. Who do you have?
Well, I agree with the games he picked out. I think LSU. I got them beating Michigan, moving on, and then I have LSU getting beat by number 4 seed Florida State. I have Florida State and Texas actually playing in the Elite 8 to move on to the Final Four, and I have the Longhorns of Texas moving on to play in the Final Four.
The eyes of Texas are upon him.
Wow!
I heard Texas is trying to get rid of that too.
Are they?
What in the world are we going?
Maybe Governor McConaughey.
What have we come to here?
What do you think, Jeff?
I disagree with Shelton.
Good.
Although his analyzation is fairly good, but his total evaluation is not very subpar. To be honest with you, Michigan is going to play, if you will, Alabama in the Super 8, and then you're going to have Alabama. The Alabama Crimson Tide, say it how you say it.
Alabama!
Yeah, they're going to play in the Final Four. So it'll be Alabama and Gonzaga.
All right, guys, not so fast, my friends. I've got one for you, one that you'll never imagine. Back in the old days, my father raised me to be a UCLA Bruins basketball fan. I am a Bruin through and through because of John Wooden. They are playing in what has been described by the chairman of the NCAA, the greatest first four game since they've been doing these glorified play-in games. They're playing Michigan State on Thursday night. UCLA will defeat Michigan State. Then they'll go on a roll like they're tumbling through the weeds. And UCLA will be in the Final Four. How about it? Come on.
I can tell he's had COVID.
This,
Hey, Shelton, he's still in a fog.
This
He's
guy.
still in a fog.
this
All
guy.
right. Sean, what do you think?
Nothing.
That's gonna
Yeah.
Let's go to the South region and the number one seed. There's a team that, at least for me, and maybe a lot of casual college basketball fans, we really don't know a lot about, and that's the Baylor Bears. Jeff, what about this Baylor team?
Baylor's super athletic. They're old. They didn't have any one-and-done guys. They're old and athletic. And they had a great year, all besides just a little hiccup in the middle of the year. Well, I don't know if they got tired or whatever, but they're super athletic. I have them going down, and they are playing Purdue. That will be a great game in the Sweet 16. I think Purdue is very physical. Interesting, my upset special in the first game is right here. I believe Winthrop will beat Villanova. Wow. Villanova lost their guard, and I think Winthrop is a strong team. I believe Winthrop will win the first, another, like you said, 12-5 seeds. You got to watch them.
Shelton, the South region.
Actually, I agree with him 100%. Winthrop defeats Villanova in that first round. I also, I think Arkansas is a good team at a 3 seed. I think they can travel a little bit into the Sweet 16. Ohio State moves on to the Elite 8, though. They defeat Arkansas to move on.
Wait a second. You got Ohio State beating ORU. Expect a miracle written on the card.
I do.
At the Meebe Center
I really do. I'm not going to lie. I got Ohio State moving on to beat Arkansas. They'll move on to the Elite 8. But I agree with Jeff up to the point of Baylor and Purdue. Purdue is a team that played a fantastic schedule. They were hit by the injury bug a little bit. They're healthy. Purdue upsets Baylor. Purdue moves on, beats Ohio State, and Purdue will walk their way into the Final Four.
Whoa, he is shocked the world.
Wow.
Shaka.
Man.
I'll tell you something. I don't have that. I have Arkansas losing. I have what he has right there. I have Arkansas losing to Ohio State, and then Baylor going. I have Baylor winning out in the South region.
You got a lot of chalk there, don't you? All right. Let's go to the Midwest region.
Oh,
just to recap here, both of our panelists, as you're listening to our what did Austin call this? The Mix Madness Selection Show. And you can, of course, we need to fill your bracket out by Friday at noon at mymix1041.com. What?
The only radio station in America where the head guy goes, "No, what did Austin call this again?"
I just thought we were getting together.
Is it written down somewhere?
They turned the mics off. I just thought we were talking.
Absolutely.
Fill out your brackets at mymix1041.com, presented by American Car Center. First place, $500. Plus, you can win hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars in other cash and prizes, prize after every round. And the best bracket name, Michelle Halston won this last year, will receive $100 courtesy of the UPS store. All right. So just to summarize quickly, both of our panelists, Jeff Lovingood, Stephen Shelton, Gonzaga out of the West. Shelton says Florida State out of the East.
No, I'm sorry, Texas out of the East. Florida State.
Now you're going with Texas.
No.
Yes.
Is that because Matthew McConaughey's running for governor? Is that
No.
And then Jeff Lovingood says Alabama. And then out of the South, it's Shelton saying that Gene Katie's Purdue team is coming out of there. And Lovingood says Baylor.
Baylor Bears.
All right, now to the Midwest, the final region. Here we go. Illinois, the Fighting Illini, Shelton, the number one team.
I think the Fighting Illini may be the one or two best teams in this thing. They have played really well. They're really athletic. They're really long. They create, basketball, and Jeff first tell you in basketball, it's really not about your team. It's about your matchups. And your matchups is what can kill you in the game of basketball. And so I see Illinois, I don't see them having much fight whatsoever. I see them coming down. They win the first game. They win the second game. Oklahoma State beats Tennessee in the round of 32. They move on and get beat by Illinois in the Sweet 16. And then if we come through the bottom section of that, I really like, as much as I hate to say this, I really like West Virginia, and I like what they do, and they make it hard on defenders with their offense. So I've got West Virginia moving on through, not much in upsets there, but West Virginia and Illinois playing in the Grade 8, and I have Illinois moving on to the Final Four.
Son,
What about it, Lovingood?
I have a little bit of change here. I've got several upset specials. One is I have Clemson coming out there beating Houston in the second round. So I got Clemson playing West Virginia, and Clemson playing Illinois. But I have the University of Tennessee Volunteers
Come on.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, come on.
going to the Sweet 16 and getting beat by Illinois. Coming out of there, I think got a good team. And so I think Tennessee will get beat by Illinois, but they'll make it. They'll make it through the Sweet 16. And Illinois will play Clemson. Believe it or not, shocker. Clemson in the 8, but Illinois will come out of there. I'll agree with Shelton. Illinois is the best team in that whole business.
Okay, so you both agree on the West and Midwest. You have disagreement in the South and the East. So, tell you what, Jeff, we're going to go to you now and just take us through your Final Four, and then tell us who you think is going to win the whole thing.
Well, Gonzaga and Alabama will be a neat game, full of athletes, running, shooting. I mean, that will be a fun game to watch, just pure athleticism. And I think it'll be a close game, but I think the Gonzaga group, they got too much for them. I think Gonzaga beats Alabama, and then I see Baylor and Illinois. And so that's going to be an interesting game. I just really believe the Baylor Bears have just a little more than Illinois does right now. And I think that'll be a good Final Four. But I believe Baylor will face the Zags in the championship game, and the confetti will come down. And the nets will be cut down.
You're deciding right now.
By Gonzaga out of a score of 78 to 67.
He literally is deciding. I don't care what he says. He's deciding as he
That's a bald-faced lie. I decided, and it's true.
Number 1, Gonzaga. Boy, you're out on a limb there, aren't you, Jeff?
Well,
That's great.
Dave,
What?
when was the last time a team was undefeated through the whole year and the whole tournament?
That'd be University of Kentucky, Jack Goose Gibbons, 76. See, you had no clue that I would know that.
Well, can I tell you this? That's pretty,
I just saw that yesterday.
Can I tell you this? It's been since 76 since that happened, and I'm predicting it this time. The Zags will go through the whole gentleman.
That's wrong, because that couldn't have
undefeated.
been. Because Kentucky and Duke were not in the tournament in 76. Who was it in 76? Shelton, you know?
76 was the last time that Duke and Kentucky both weren't in the NCAA tournament.
But it was 76 that somebody went all the way as number 1.
Well, you know what? You came so boldly. I would just,
you really should never walk that back. I mean, how many people would have really paid attention to that?
He came in there so strong. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I believed it.
He got straight up.
Yeah.
He's like a preacher.
Pride comes before
Often
fall.
wrong, but never in doubt.
As long as I'm loud, it doesn't really matter what I say.
Just how, boys, you got the biggest mic win.
It don't work. Most people have turned us off by now.
Yeah. All right, Shelton, bring it home for us.
Yeah,
in
I've
the
got
Final Four.
absolutely. I've got Gonzaga and Texas playing. I think Gonzaga moves on, playing the championship. Purdue, Illinois. I think Illinois is second best team in the nation right now, and I think Gonzaga defeats Illinois. I think Gonzaga wins this game 77-72. They beat the Fighting Illini, and Gonzaga hangs the first banner in school history.
Wow.
And you're looking up to see the last time anybody was
we
undefeated.
agreed, but not in who they were playing.
Yeah.
And the Final Four, but we agreed that the Zags were going to win. How come you're not getting up on him like you got up on me?
Yeah.
He's still trying to figure out if he was right or not.
Indiana.
Here we go.
Indiana. Bobby Knight.
And let's talk about bold predictions. If not this offseason, by this time next offseason, Brad Stevens will be named the new coach at Indiana because the buyout will go from $22 million for their current coach down to $4 million, and they will have a new president in place, and they want someone that can put them back in the promised land, and Brad Stevens' time in Boston has come to an end.
Really?
Brad Stevens returns to the state of Indiana, but this time to take care of the Hoosiers.
Wow, there you go. Jeff, do you have any big predictions?
I have not one prediction related to that. Indiana, I don't know, who cares. But the fact
True.
But the fact
We don't care about Indiana.
But the fact of it is, the sun's going to shine again on Rocky Top. Amen.
Win.
We might go through this tournament. What about the ladies?
Hey now.
The first time, the only team in the history of the NCAA, they started the tournament, and now they've made it for how many years in a row?
39.
39 years in a row. They've been in the NCAA tournament. And Kelly's done a great job. There's 36.
Really has. And they play MTSU in that first round on Sunday.
In San Antonio?
In San Antonio, yeah.
Go
So the
down there.
women down there, the men in Indianapolis, should be good guys.
Sure glad the sun shines in the winter because it doesn't in the fall up there.
Whoa, there. Well, we'll do that show coming up soon. Don't worry. All right, folks, there you go.
Show
It's
them.
our selection. What do we call it? The Mixed Madness Selection Show. Presented by American Car Center. And sign up for the Mixed Madness bracket, mymix1041.com. At grand prize, $500. But listen, you must sign up through our website and register with us in order to win the prizes, as we tell you. We'll also have coverage through CBS Radio Sports of the first and second round games on Talk 101.3 The Buzz on Friday and Saturday. Remember, your deadline to sign up for Mix Madness is Friday at noon at mymix1041.com. For Stephen Shelton and Jeff Lovingood, Steve Hartline, good day.